Tracey, and welcome to Beyond the Crystal Wand. Today we are going to be discussing herbs. One of the biggest questions I receive in this shop is, what do I do with the herbs? There are many different things you can do with herbs, and we're going to start with some of the more simple things you can do, and then we'll take it to, a little more complicated things you can do. Today we're going to also talk about some protection herbs and love herbs. Those seem to be two of our biggest sellers. So one of the first simplest things you can do is make yourself just a little sachet bag. So we'll start with some protection. I usually, make a couple sachet bags. I'll keep one in my room, under your pillow, hang it on your bedpost at night. Then you can make another little one to keep in your car for protection when you're driving. Keep it in your pocket so you always have it with you, in your purse, in your bra, whatever you're comfortable with. A lot of times what I like to do is kind of make my own herb blends, because you're going into that whole intention thing and it just feels a little more powerful when you're putting your own intention into it. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a mortar and pestle to grind them up. I like to do that sometimes, especially with some of the chunkier pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some protection. Some of the best herbs for protection are sage, of course. That's an automatic. Lemon verbena is great for protection, burdock root, and also patchouli is good. So basically what I like to do, if you want to create your own blend, just take a little bit. You don't need a whole lot of everything, especially if you're, just going to do a couple little sachet bags. Take a little of each, just a pinch.
And also charm.
Yep. Charm bags, and we even have a few little stone chips that I like to add to them. And there's some burdock and a little patchouli. I love patchouli. It's one of my favorites. Patchouli is good for many things. Not only is it good for keeping negativity away and protection, it is also good for the love spell. So, mortar and pestle. You just kind of grind them up together if you want it real fine. And it doesn't have to be dust, it doesn't have to be powder. You just get a good, blend, mix going in there. And then take whatever type of sachet bags you'd like, throw them in there. And you can fill it up if you want. You can leave it half full. That's totally up to you. And then a little charm bag. Protection for, like I said, your person. Keep on you all the time. Put one in your car. And then we've got our stone chips, exclusively for protection. I got some tiger's eye in here, some amethyst, some black tourmaline. And again, you don't need a lot, just a few in each. And I like to always use my color coordinated pouches. So black is good for protection. There, you have one for your car, pocket, whichever. This one, you can hang it on a doorknob. Like I said, your bedpost, tuck it under your pillow at night. It smells wonderful. If you really don't want to go through the process of making your own blends, we have one blended up already. It's all about protection. You can do the same exact thing with it. Just put some in the little sachets, your little pouches, charm bags, whatever you'd like. Now, if you really want a fine, dusty type, then you can go ahead and use an herb grinder. You just sprinkle a little in there.
Why would anybody want it powdery unless they were putting it in something really small?
Yes, and a lot of times people, if they're really doing like a ritual type procedure, they want more of like a dust, like a powder. Sometimes people like to sprinkle a little bit of powder or dust on a windowsill, just like you do after you're finished saging. Sprinkle a little on your windowsill. Some people like to put it at their doorways, things like that. So herb grinders are good for that. Make sure that you don't have any like stone chips or anything in your grinder. You don't want to kill your grinder.
Big stems, I
But
would imagine.
right. So just a couple quick twists, and then you can really get that down into a a nice powdery type substance. So then another thing you can do with your herbs, take them and put them in what we call organza bags. Now these are good for baths. And the reason you want to put it into a bag is because that way the essence of the herbs and the water will absorb all the properties of the herbs without clogging your drain. So
I
you
wouldn't
just,
put the powder in the organza
no,
bags,
that might be
'cause
too fine, right?
Yeah, it'll
Keep it a
come
little
out way too
chunkier.
much.
Right. And then basically what you do is when you get, half full, throw this whole bag right into your bath. And that way you're having that nice relaxing bath. You'll get the aroma of the herbs, the property of the herbs without worrying about it going down your drain. Once you're finished with the bath, you can actually dump those herbs out, rinse this out, reuse this bag many times with fresh herbs. Then, after you're finished with some protection, you can go on to any herbs. You can combine herbs if you're trying to do protection and love at the same time. You can, there's nothing wrong with combining some of the herbs
Yeah,
together.
especially if you're trying to do protection for a loved one.
Exactly.
Or something like that, maybe.
Right. Always remember, if you're doing something for someone else, have their permission. Even if it's something good, you're still, you don't want to mess with anyone's free will. So it's perfectly fine to do this for someone else, protection and love for someone else. Just make sure that they know what you're doing and that it's okay with them. Love. If you saw our previous video on the candle magic, you know about, what we talked about. You consecrate your candle, carve your initials, carve another person's initials into it, and make sure you have, put this little guy, at least something to collect the wax, but something that a lot of people will also do, get your candle lit, and then you can take a little bit of the love herbs and just kind of sprinkle it around the base. And what I really like about this is once your wax melts, then you have this wax pool with the herbs already embedded into it. Then you can take those wax chips with the herbs, add that to a sachet bag. You can, there's many things you can do with it. I've heard people that will use the leftover wax with the love herbs in them, and then they remelt them down and write a letter to the universe, and then seal it with that wax. Everything you do is just going to give everything that extra power. And another thing you can do, if you don't want to do the herbs with the candle, you can always just burn the herbs as well. Make sure you have a good fireproof container. Cast iron is always good for that. And just go ahead and light them up. You can do a ritual where you're sending that energy out into the universe. Some people will actually, instead of mixing it with the wax, you might have a candle in the center. Just sprinkle a circle around the candle itself. There. Simple. Another thing I like to do is, once you get your sachet bags complete, whatever you're interested in doing with that, take a little bit of oil. This is anointing, and just a very, very, very light drop. You don't need a lot. And then you just sort of anoint. You don't need to rub it. You don't need to soak it in. You're anointing it. Again, giving it that extra power of protection or love, whatever it is you happen to be doing. Prosperity. There's so many different herbs out there. You can do everything with herbs. Any intention you have, there's herbs out there for it. The one thing we do want to bring up is make sure that these herbs specifically that we sell here are not for ingestion. Do not make teas out of them. There are some herbs that are actually poisonous. Lobelia is one, wormwood's one. Mugwort, yeah. Just make sure you know what you're doing as far as, making any herbs that you want to use as teas or ingest. Watch your pets, make sure they're not going to get into any of it as well.
I always tell people to go to your local health food store.
Exactly.
And buy the teas, because all the herbal teas there have been processed for ingestion.
Yes. They're organically grown. They're not doused with. The herbs we sell here are grown for ritual purposes, so they're not for ingestion. However, that being said, there's all types of herbs you can, like jasmine, for instance. Jasmine is fabulous for a love mix. Jasmine tea, I'm sure you've all heard of it. That would be a wonderful thing. You can combine all that. If you go to the health food store, get some jasmine tea, rose tea, lavender tea, drink a cup of that, and while you're doing that, sit in a bath with your
And what I found is
patch.
people want to, because you watch so many TV shows, they want to do filters and potions for somebody. It's like, do the tea. Give them the tea.
Yes.
I'll make the tea for them.
Yes.
As part of it's your little ritual. They know,
Right.
but at least
Exactly. Exactly.
Instead of trying to secretly put things in their food. That is just
Again,
not good.
You are messing with their will, free will,
Well,
even if it's
you're
something
messing
good.
with their health.
And you're
If
messing
you
with their
don't-
health, absolutely. And make sure that even if it's something that you got from a health food store and you know it's okay to ingest, you don't know what that person may be allergic to. They may have allergies to some of this stuff.
I hadn't thought of that.
So yeah, be real careful with that type of thing. Absolutely. We are going to talk about, like I said, love is a very popular subject. Again, we do have a love mix here for the Lazy Witch, if you don't want to make your own. But again, there's something to be said about kind of creating your own blend. My favorites for a love mix, lavender, obviously, rose petals, jasmine, rosemary, and patchouli again. Patchouli is good for love and lust. So if you want that romantic love where you want an actual partner and add a little patchouli. Nothing wrong with that. And again, red, pink, those are the colors that are coordinating with the whole love thing. So again, if you're doing a love, use a red pouch, use a pink pouch. Make yourself a love bath. And just like everything we tell you in here, do it and then don't doubt it. It's sort of, you're doing your thing, you're doing your intention, but then just put it out there and let it go. Don't immediately start saying, well, that's not going to work. Don't do that. That is a big mistake a lot of people make. So again, and with the oils, whether it's protection oil, love oil, you can anoint everything. Anoint your candles. Be careful with the wick. Don't want to get more flammable than it is. But there are just so many options with herbs. The list could go on and on and on. I mean, we've, purification, banishing, prosperity. That's another big one that we do. Know your color intentions. Green, obviously, for that.
Prosperity.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, carrying a prosperity charm bag in your pocket.
Yes.
Whatever, just to
Yes.
help you in general. It's not going to make you win the lottery, but it will
No.
help. Usually it just helps you bring a little more cash your way. It just helps you
Right.
if you're having problems. The problems get solved financially.
Yes, prosperity works in many ways. A lot of times you may receive a bill the following month that's a lot less than it was the month before. Hey, there's some extra money in your pocket. Just be open to how it works. It's not going to always be, oh, well, I'm going to do a love spell, and then, Mr. Right's going to come riding in on his white horse.
Because with love spells too, if it's not meant to be, it's not going to make it be.
Right.
Because sometimes you can send the energy out to that person, and you are sending out the I love you signal, and they might be getting it, and it's just they don't really love you back.
Right.
And it sucks, but it's life.
Yes.
And you need to accept that. But if you send it out more openly, like, who is going to love me? And that's the way you should do it. You should really do a love spell saying, send me someone who
Yes. I just went over this
or will.
with my niece. She had a little rocky relationship with her first love, and I know that she's still, in her mind, she's still in love with him. She wants him back. But I went over everything with her, and I said, look, take your candle, carve your initials into it, but don't carve his initials into it. Just carve a heart, a symbol of a heart, a question mark. Trust the universe to send you who they know is right for you. I think the universe knows better than we do sometimes what's right for us. So just trust the universe. And of course, as anything and everything you do with this, just keep that bubble of light around you, keep your protection around you, because any of this, you're sort of opening yourself up. You're going to become almost like a beacon of light, as I usually say. And you don't know what could be coming in. You don't know what's going to be attracted to that light. Not all light beings are attracted to light. So you don't want to invite anything dark in either. So just make sure that you're always surrounded by your protection. Of course, that's why I have about 5 of these in my purse. One for prosperity, one for love, one for, why not? Cover it all. So yeah, there are so many different things you can do with herbs. I was saying, just be careful with the ingestion, and even smells. Some herbs can be very strong, and if you're sensitive, or you're
have allergies,
combine a tea for someone,
if you are a person that's got heavy ragweed allergies, etc.,
absolutely,
herbs might not be your best way to go about anything, because it's just going to make you swell up and sneeze.
Yeah.
You're better off working with simple candle magic.
Yes,
or
unscented candles,
or the stones. Use the crystals and spells instead of the herbs.
And even the oils. They can be very strong.
Yeah, because they're essential oils. If you're really allergic, you have to be careful.
Yeah. Most people that come into our shop will comment on how wonderful it smells. And it's a combination of everything. It's our herbs, it's our oils, it's our incense, it's everything. But occasionally we do have people, they can't handle it more than 5 minutes, and they're, running because it's too much. They're too sensitive.
We should do one on crystal spells.
Yeah.
For those people who do have high allergies.
Yes.
I never thought of that.
Yes.
That would be...
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
we'll do that one.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, because, and it seems like nowadays more than ever, there's so many allergies out there and sensitivities and, but really just know that this is your intention. So as long as you're not messing with anyone else's free will, and it's perfectly okay to do protection for someone else, love for someone else, just have their permission, or like we said, trust the universe to send you what they know is right for you. They're the better judge. There are thousands of herbs out there. Learn about them if you're interested in this, because it could just go on and on and on. It's something that I'm still learning. I don't think you'll ever stop learning, but it's just a wonderful experience.
And there's a lot of good books out there that give you, and there are so many herbs that can be substituted, like rose petals for lavender, jasmine, that sort of thing.
Right.
Just because one recipe or one ritual says you have to have this, this, and this, you can substitute and make the ritual your own.
Absolutely. I personally do not have a green thumb. I have some herbs growing at home. I had Solomon seal. My dog ate it. So,
oh my God, that's expensive too.
I know, exactly. So, if you're into that and you have a green thumb and you want to grow your own herbs, that's a wonderful thing to do, especially the basic sage, peppermint, things like that. Then you know you can use for your own teas and your own ingestion purposes. Yeah, organic, make sure, don't spray them with anything weird. But yeah, there are some people that actually go out into the forests and forage themselves. I don't do that. But what a wonderful thing if you can do that, if you know what you're looking for. But again, be careful because some of it is poisonous. Like I said, the basic simple things that I usually tell people, make yourself some sachet bags because that's the simplest thing you can do. And make 4 or 5 of them. Small ones, big ones, little, whatever. Baths are great. If you don't take baths, a lot of people don't use baths. Take a shower, hang this over your shower head. Somehow get it so that the water maybe trickles down through the bag itself. You're going to get the effect of it raining down on you. Visualize those herbs just sort of raining down on you, covering you with love, covering you with protection. That's another great way to do it. I personally don't take baths, so that's what I do. Sometimes just the steam from the shower is enough to get the fragrance going. Again, you can anoint it with a little oil. Now, if you do that with your bag, just be careful if you do put that in your bathtub because the oil will be slippery. You don't want to fall in the tub or anything like that. But sometimes just even breathing in the essence of the oils. That's why I like to have bags like this. I actually gave my neighbor a bag that had some calming herbs in them, lavender, because, she's sometimes stressed out, anxiety. She has 3 kids. Sometimes she'll just take it and take a big, long, deep whiff of her lavender, and it kind of goes back to that aromatherapy thing. Our sense of smell is one of our most primitive senses that we still have that can transport you to a memory or a place that you forgot about. And, so I love aromatherapy. Herbs are incorporated into all of that. Same with candles. Like we were saying, if you have sensitivities, just stick with maybe plain candles that don't have any fragrance to them. But if you can handle the fragrance, we have Reiki charged candles here that have some rose oil already in them, and they smell wonderful when you're burning them. But yeah, so just keep an eye on that and make sure, like we were saying, if you're doing it for other people, just know what their sensitivities and their allergies are. Keep your pets away from it. Even my dog will eat everything and anything. So I can't leave bags of anything sitting around because I don't know what he's going to get into. And some of them, even though it may not be necessarily a poisonous herb, to a dog or a cat, it could be harmful to them. So just always watch that. That wraps up another edition of Beyond the Crystal Wand. And we'll be back hopefully soon. We'll discuss maybe crystal magic. Helping people, healing's a good one that we can talk about right now with all the the COVID and the flu season and everything else that's going around, just allergies, sensitivities, even emotional aspects, stress, anxiety. We can go on and on about herbs and crystals when it comes to all that stuff. So, well, thank you, and you all have a wonderful day. Blessed be.